Hi Mohit.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. You can hear me well, see me well.
Yes, I can hear you, see you. How's everything?
Everything good. So I think congrats first of all. I think the mom's
Thank
company
you.
recently raised the $8 million round.
Yes, thank
Uh,
you.
Thank you. So you're on the way to becoming a 100 crore company almost soon. Like
Yes,
yes,
hopefully soon.
hopefully soon. Okay. No, I think it should be. I think quite soon. I think it's a very popular brand, and I think it's can we say it's a D2C brand?
It is a D2C brand. So origin is D2C, of course. We've been growing by our own website. But of course, we are also present across Amazon, Nykaa, Flipkart, FirstCry. We are also now entering retail. So yes, our origins are D2C, but I think given the demand and given the fact that there is now pull for the products, we're actually going into a bunch of other channels as well.
So we will touch back on this D2C thing because I think it's a catchphrase nowadays. But I like to
Yeah.
start course intro if you can give to the viewers and the mom's company in your own words. Although
Sure.
everyone knows.
No, I think we are a new brand, right? So it's always helpful. Look, I think our personal journey is it's interesting, right? We started the Dalcha journey about 4, 5 years ago now,
Mhm.
and essentially because both of our children had atopic dermatitis and skin conditions and child asthma, where as parents we weren't able to find high quality, natural, safe products that work for them. Right. And so in the need of actually creating those products, we ended up doing a lot of research trying to find manufacturers and ingredients that would work even on sensitive skin and for children. And that led to the creation of the brand as it is today. We started the brand about 3.5 years ago. We launched with the intent of helping moms make safe, natural, effective choices. Right. What that's done is as we've resonated with what we want to do, right? A lot of women have come back and said, this makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you for doing this. Can you launch more products? This is up the fact that we are all natural. We are Australia certified toxin free. And that has helped us actually grow into the size we are today. We have today 30 products where we solve for all concerns of moms, right? Across stretch marks, hair care, face care. We have a large baby care range as well. Yeah, and I think the background of starting personally for me from consulting, then becoming a parent, then launching a brand, that resonates with parents across India is very fulfilling. And so that's where we are today.
No, I think quite commendable. And I know you're from IM Ahmedabad, then you were in McKinsey for a lot of years, you were in Snapdeal. So you had a really, great career. Was it scary as an entrepreneur to just leave everything and start a new business? Because it's a question a lot of people in high powered jobs
Hmm.
who start will help them.
I don't think it was scary actually when I quit, right? So I spent 7 years in McKinsey. When I
Mhm.
left McKinsey, I was very sure that there's an e-commerce revolution happening in India and I wanted to be a part of that revolution. And so I joined Snapdeal to head user growth and strategy. And at that time, I think Marika came to me with a huge conviction around there is a need for us to resolve in the
And,
market.
and Malika,
Uh,
your
right.
wife,
Marika is my wife and my co-founder, right? So we knew that there was a big need to resolve, and at least at my time at Snapdeal, I had conviction that e-commerce and social media could help a new brand join, right? So I think that's where we're clear. Uh, I wasn't scared at the time, I think because given my educational background and my work background, I was fairly confident saying if this doesn't work, I will land a job, right? Let's give it some time. I think it's got scarier over time, right?
okay.
What most people don't realize is the scary part is not that you will fail, because when you fail, you will actually bounce back and you will do something. The scary part is what happens if you're only mildly successful, right? So you're stuck somewhere in the middle. It doesn't make sense for you to shut down the business and go back,
Mhm.
to a job, but you're not also as successful as you thought you would be. And so then what do you do? right? I've seen a lot of founders actually be stuck there. That seems to be the scariest moment, right? You're not, it's not failure when you need to pick yourself up and get going again, but you're also not successful. Then you have to reevaluate your doing the business.
So, that's a very important point. And I also noticed there are a lot of startups who are stuck in that middle zone where they're neither really moving nor the founders can leave it. But what advice or what pointers can you give to founders or startups? How can they ascertain that they are in that zone, middle zone, where they're not really moving up? Is it, can you say through growth rates or, certain GMV, top line, or certain, salary which or money which they need to be compensated? What is their lifestyle? How would you define that? Or it's very personal?
I think it's very personal, right? It's
Mhm.
very personal. What I've seen work the best is for a founder to be true to what they want to achieve personally by when,
Mhm.
right? So it is true that every founder will go through ups and downs. Every founder will go through fear and a sense that maybe what I am doing is not what I intended to do, and so should I do something else? I think those are fairly common questions that people come up with. The big thing to do is to have a sense check on what is it that you need to do, right?
Mhm.
For me, it is, for Malika and me, it is I should be able to maintain the lifestyle for my kids, right? And I want my kids to have a fantastic education, so I should be able to afford to send them to the best universities, right? That's the simple sort of path that I have. If I can't even do this much, then I need to move out of the business and do something else or change the business fundamentally, right? Anything above that for me is success. Right? So it's very personal based on what is your individual value system and what works for you. I know there are enough entrepreneurs out there who say, kuch nahi, this is it. I am going to make this business work no matter how bad it gets. I heard a very interesting comment on this once from Sanjeev Bichchandani, the Make My Trip founder, and he's gone IPO, but they've also gone through ups and downs, where he said, as long as we are having fun, right, I am okay. So he was describing this amazing moment in their life when they had to fire a lot of people. They actually moved into that
So,
first floor.
when you say
Hello?
make, you mean Deep Kalra, not Sanjeev Bichchandani.
Yes, sorry, Deep Kalra.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Deep Kalra. They've gone through lots of ups and downs. So he moved onto the first floor of a small office, where they couldn't stand straight because every time they stood straight, they would bump their head. But he said even during those times, me and my core team were still in those stressful situations having fun. And for me, as long as we were having fun and we were building a company, I was very excited. Right? So I think it's interesting. It's very personal for people, right?
But
But you have to know that this is it. This is my base case.
but you think there should be some people, mentors, entrepreneur can go to and get a reality check where they are and what might be the scenarios going
Yeah,
forward. Some mentors can help
yeah.
in this.
That's hugely important. I think having a mentor pool makes a massive difference. I have a set of mentors who I reach out to frequently. I have a set of entrepreneurs like yourself who I'm talking to all the time to say, "Kya chal raha hai? What's happening?" It is a stressful, lonely journey. There are lots of things that are going on in your head which you can't share with your team members at different points of time. You can't share with your family, right? So yeah, having people who've gone through this, I think, makes a massive difference. And one big advice is definitely set up that pool for yourself very quickly.
Do you think certain set of entrepreneurs, which are your friends, certain mentors, are really helpful and they should be there from day zero for the reality check
Yeah,
and that emotional support?
yeah, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference to have that set of people in your life.
So, if I can ask something like you, from your IM Ahmedabad batchmates or
Hmm.
McKinsey batchmates, any couple of other people who started startups, entrepreneurship, like along
Yeah,
with you, have a
yeah.
pool,
So
pool.
it's very different. So if I look at the two most common examples, we were actually a very close group of three friends.
Okay.
I had two of those friends who actually stepped out and immediately after campus started their entrepreneurship journey. They did their first startup together, which failed. After that, my friend Arun went on to become the CEO of a Barclays, of a Berkshire Hathaway company in India, then went on to become Exceedence. Exceedence is now owned by him, one of the leading reinsurance data analytics company in the world. And my second friend in that group, Kaushik, went on to first start Fabbag, which became Velvet, and he's now COO of Sugar Cosmetics.
Oh,
Right? So they've also gone on to become a very inspiring story in the cosmetic space.
so when you say CEO of Sugar, he's also the founder of Sugar Cosmetics. Okay,
Yes, he's a
it's
co-founder.
A91, right?
Yes,
So I think so. These two friends they started right after IMA, not
that's
doing much.
that's right.
So do you see any your McKinsey background helping you? Although these are again very relative questions and very open-ended.
Yeah.
The two of your close friends who started right after IMA, and you
Yeah.
started after 5 6 years of experience in McKinsey. If you have to advise youngsters, would you say like you've seen the examples, right? So, any difference in the journeys of two of your friends and yours?
When you do a job, you end up making expense at other people's expense, right? It doesn't cost you money when you make mistakes,
Okay.
right? So I think that's the comfort level that you go through, like especially around stuff that you haven't dealt with before, right? It's all great to have, strategy and have execution, but building a business is hard work, right? So I think it makes a difference. There are examples both ways, right? So if I just count the large startups in India, you have an Oyo where Ritesh didn't even finish his college.
Right.
And you have a big basket variety where the four guys had been in grocery for 20 years.
Right.
Right? So I think it all depends on the complexity of the business that you're launching. What is most important, I think, more than education and work experience is the business that you're actually doing. Do you know enough to be able to succeed in the business? Why you? And because, especially if you're starting your own business, why you is a question which is good to ask because you will have competition come up no matter what you do. Why you is an important question which every investor will ask you if you go out and try and raise some money, right? And you better have a good answer for that.
So you're saying it's not only the education or the work experience, but it's also why you, right? So let's say in the mom's company, it was you as a parent. Your experience made you unique as a parent, where you
Yeah, and
were
also, so for if I look at why us as the moms go, I think one is as a parent, we were very deeply involved, having faced the pain ourselves and understanding the pains of other consumers. Um, Malika actually had spent 3 years researching products and ingredients and manufacturers and studying back of packs to the extent that a lot of manufacturers confused her engineer MBA background with her being a cosmetologist and an R&D expert, right? And I think from my perspective, because I had spent 7 years in McKinsey doing consumer goods, retail marketing, and then a year and a half just understanding the basics of growth, right? So despite not being hardcore from an FMCG background, there were a lot of other factors that we had which helped us get the right investors and the right mentors and other things on board, right? Yeah, so I think going beyond the passion which I think every entrepreneur has. It's a hard question on, do you really have a right to win?
so I think you should answer. Someone should answer that whether you have earned the right to win through your
Yeah,
experience, through your passion, or through your skills. Like maybe
yeah,
Mr. Hutchinson, through his experience of 20 years in grocery, had won that. Right? Maybe you and Malika
correct.
come with that passion for this baby care, mom care products, and your background in McKinsey in FMCG and other things. You know strategy, marketing, finance. So it
Yeah,
helps. Those
yeah.
brownie
I
points.
mean, a very strong question someone asked me was, who are the five people who you think can beat you at this? Right? It's fantastic, right? Because what you can't do is, oh shit, he's launched my idea, right? That's a very tough place to be. So yeah, answer that question honestly for yourself, and then irrespective of your education and your background and your experience, if you have an honest answer to that, then you're in a good place.
So let's say the other friend of yours, I'm just picking that up, who started, sorry, I forgot the Kaushik, right? Who started Sugar
Yeah,
Cosmetics.
yeah.
So let's say you've seen his journey. So was he involved in certain cosmetic businesses, or his background gave him that knowledge about cosmetics? Was it something else?
I think maybe a similar but slightly different story. So he also co-founded the business with his wife, Vinita.
Oh, wow.
Uh, their initial business was Fab Bag, right,
Hmm.
where they started a beauty subscription. There was no one else doing it in India at that time. I think they did it well. Over time, they realized that business will tap out and they need to do something else. But while they were doing Fab Bag, it gave them 2 years of understanding of the cosmetics industry very deeply. Right? So
Hmm.
when they actually launched cosmetics, they had deep experience. They didn't have deep experience of being a manufacturer, but they had a channel which is still active, right? It still sells a lot of products and they have a large consumer base a month. But they have the energy and the enthusiasm uh, to go beyond business ahead.
So a deep product knowledge and a passion for that particular product or service in which you are there, that really helps, I think, to
Yeah,
start with.
I
And
think you need both. Yeah.
you need both. And and let's say a certain skill set which you would bring from IIM Ahmedabad background, or McKinsey or Maglika brings, so that you think there's a certain traits or skill set in an entrepreneurs or attitude. What would you value more? Certain skill sets or traits, certain things you can enumerate what you might have seen.
In early stages, I think personality and traits and will goes above everything else. And
Okay.
especially when you're just starting the company, because you will face numerous challenges. Uh, you know, I moved from a stage where I was thinking about post GST life for major FMCG players to go into manufacture and saying, "Sir, maal de do, kya bechunga?" Right? So it's very dramatically different when you start, and I think the intensity to get stuff done is the primary trait, right? You need that more than anything. As the business evolves and the business grows, expectations from partners also change to now by now you better have expertise in this area. And so you end up getting more and more people who've done this before, right? Who have expertise in the specific functions and areas that you create.
No, and if you can go back when you were starting the mom's company in 2017 or 16, so what were the kind of team members you hired initially? Like, are there certain functions depending on yours and Malika's expertise? Did you do a mapping of your skills and expertise and hired some different people and who have been members of your core team since then? Can you enlighten the viewers somewhere on those lines? How do you do a team building from,
Yeah,
and
I
were you,
think the,
and also
you
were
know, one
you, what did you look for during those times? And there were some learnings. Did you hire the IM kind or more? So those kind of things.
It's a good question. I don't think till date we have any other IM, ex-IM people in the company,
Okay.
right? Should we maybe at our current stage? I'm not particularly convinced. I think what we hired for was skills we didn't have. So our first hire in the company was an R&D expert. Right? We knew very early on that we're going to create products for moms and babies where you can't mess around with safety and efficacy. These products have to work really well. So we went and hired an R&D expert. Right? I think similar to, for example, Kilo with having chefs. Right? We couldn't launch the Moms Co without having R&D and formulations expertise. Right?
Hmm.
Uh, we hired for that. And once that came in, then the second person we hired for was a person who was very good at relationships. Right? Because as we grew, we wanted to have the right partnerships, the right relationships. So that person came in.
They, with
Uh,
the manufacturers.
yes. And so
Hmm.
one on R&D and one on relationships, which could be everything from sales to marketing to, early stage deployment, managing a social media agency and so on. So it was four of us who actually launched the company 3 years ago. And yeah, since then we've been expanding and growing each team and each function as we continue scale.
So again, going back to the question, so you will say, look at your founder's skill set and go then see what other skill sets are lacking. And you have to again
Yeah.
Were these people you hired, the two people from the start, were they older to you? Did they have more salaries than you? Like, what are the any learnings you can hire? Even the entrepreneurs can hire people senior to them. Is
Yeah, I
it
think
okay?
since we've started, the founders have not been the highest paid people in the company, right? So, uh, I think we've always hired people who are better than us at different functions. That's why they exist because we can't do that job. Uh, there are people who add value to the business, which, as founders, we can't add on a day-to-day basis, where you just need that skill set. Yeah, and you have to be okay with it, and you have to get those people in. I think it's unfair. It's an unfair expectation as a founder to say you will be an expert in every function, right? And even if you are an expert in every function, you will never have the bandwidth and the mind space to do everything yourself, right? So you better surround yourself with really good people who treat the company as their own.
Hmm. So look, so I think you'll encourage entrepreneurs to hire senior people in different skill sets and make them a part of the team. Any
Yeah.
thoughts on like making ESOP pool from day one, things like that?
We've always had an ESOP pool. I
Okay.
think we've been of the opinion as founders that for people who are part of the success of the brand, we should be involved in their success as individuals as well,
Hmm.
right? So from a wealth creation perspective, actually, we've had an ESOP pool. We've just had two early employees who paid off their home loans thanks to an ESOP sale. Yeah, so it's, I think, a feeling of immense joy that people who took a risk on the business early on and delivered value to the business, we were able to give back, right? Yeah, so I think
And
it doesn't make sense, right? For us, ESOPs are a big way of making sure that people are invested in the success of the brand.
great. And if I can ask something sensitive, your co-founder is your wife, Malika. How
Yeah.
much would you advise entrepreneurs, first of all, to have a co-founder? So have you
Yes.
seen single founder and a co-founder? And second thing, if I can ask, like, does it get sensitive being a spouse as a co-founder?
Yeah, it does get sensitive having a spouse as a co-founder. So to answer your question, to me as an individual, I think it is critical having a co-founder.
Okay.
Right? I think co-founders are the only people you can be completely honest with, and you can share your fears and joys to that extent, right? So to me, it's ideal. I have a lot of chat with single founders who consistently say, I wish I had a partner in this journey. So at least as an individual, I think it is really important. There are lots of people out there for whom single founders make sense because they have a pool of people they can talk with as well, right? So that's one. Uh, Given the vibe, so when we started, I said it was two of us and two team members. What that meant was in the first few months of the business, we had a whiteboard in our bedroom, right? If you want to kill your marriage, put a whiteboard with a to-do list in your bedroom. So I think what worked in our favor was very early on realizing that we actually, when it comes to business, have a very different skill set,
Hmm.
right? So there are very clear demarcations of what she does, and she has a final decision on what I do have a final decision on. Um, and the second important thing is you have to be okay to understand that with a co-founder, and this is not, I think, less a life partner as well, but with a co-founder, you have to understand that both of you are coming from the same place and have the same value system and want the same outcomes, right? So when I've seen co-founders break down, for example, it is when, for example, one person reaches a stage where I'm done with the business and the other person is not,
Hmm.
right? Or one person believes that at a values level, for example, what you define as success and failure, when things get hard, you have a different worldview of what is failure, right? For me, the big advantage of doing this with Malika as my wife is that over the last 10 years before we started the business, or 7 years of marriage before we started the business, we realized that our values were very, very similar. And so we bring those same values to the business. So when things are tough, you're not questioning each other's intent, right? You may have a different approach to something and you may have a different way to solve a problem. but you're always coming at it saying, we both come from the same intent and value system, and the way we want to act, what we want for the business is the same. So you're focusing on the problem to solve instead of usne kya kaha, maine kya kaha. And that's what actually destroys the co-founder relationship.
Right.
And so I think someone described this to me really well. They said, if you want your wife to be a co-founder, you better have a damn strong marriage.
Really, I
Right?
think
It will put it under stress.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I think if people have, even they might be the best people, if there are certain behavioral traits, right? Some people can explode, right? Some people can temperamental issues. So
Yeah.
it can be really in that, especially if you have a co-founder as a spouse also,
Yeah.
right? But
I
I
agree.
think, but also, like people can think, like, at least one spouse can keep working, get a salary package home, while one
Yeah.
spouse is being entrepreneur. So I think it is actually going all out, and I'm very happy, and I think it has really worked out for you guys because it's sort of a all-in kind of a situation where everything
It
will
is. It
work.
is. It is. Yeah.
Uh, Also, do you think so coming to it, let me shift to fundraising, right? So, and I'll start from this point only while fundraising. So, do the investors ask, do they get iffy if the co-founder is a spouse? Is there a red
Yeah.
flag for investors?
They have a point of view, right? I haven't seen any VC not have a point of view. We have investors for whom it's a massive boon, right? Because again, they say you guys are all in, and you guys have a strong co-founder relationship, which works fantastic. So we're all in. We love the fact that you're partners. There have also been VCs who asked us, Acha, so out of the two of you, do you guys work one-fourth, one and a half? And we never really understood it till we said, oh shit, what he's asking is one full-time and one half-time person in the business. So obviously we didn't take money from those investors. But they're both, right? There are investors who say this is just too much of in the case it gets hard on the personal front, it's too bad for the business. And there are other people who love the fact that, you're all in. So it's very different. Find the VC who likes it.
Point taken. So, and I think you were lucky enough, if I can use that word, lucky enough, and I'm sure you are deserving enough to raise, initially money in 2017 itself, in very initial
Yeah.
stage from DSG. Your
Yeah.
what are the tips for the entrepreneurs? Was it your IM Ahmedabad background, McKinsey background, or your team, or your passion? What made it click really so fast with the investor? And that too of
So,
the of
uh, it's interesting. A friend put us in touch with DSG and Sama, and so we happened to meet them both. This is way back now, 3.5 years ago, almost a month after we launched. What worked for us was a combination of things. One is that I think my background and experience got us a foot in the door. Madhika's passion and vision got us the funding.
okay, great.
Right? It's very different. I I think if I was not in that meeting, the outcome wouldn't be different.
And if Malika was
Right?
not, it would have been so different. So both had
No,
to be.
no. If I think if only Madhika was in the meeting and I was not, we would have still got the money. And if it was only me and not Madhika, we would have had one more round with Madhika. Right?
Okay, okay,
Uh, See, it's a question of what mattered, right? At a very early stage with no business to prove, all you have to do is your passion and your vision and what you need, what you want to do, right? We had products in hand, but we had done 2 lakhs of sales
hmm,
in that month. And so it wasn't about the sales, it was about taking a bet on what is it that you want to do. And this was such a personal problem for Malika to solve,
okay.
right? I think that's what convinced the
And
investors to put the money in.
the of VC, you were saying it's the passion and that drive and that energy matters more than anything.
It's different at different stages. I think over time, of course, the business has delivered and we've seen the right metrics and the right moment. Uh, yeah, but I think in very early stages, when you're going out to raise your first fundraise, it is all about, do you understand the business? Do you have a sense of how you'll make money? Do you have the passion and the vision that can make this a very big business?
And I think you raised money Series A and now Series B with DSG and Sama. So you've
Yeah.
not gone out, so it has really worked with the same set of investors for a very long time. So I'm sure.
Yeah, I think we're just comfortable.
No, no,
So every round of funding we've gone out and we've had term sheets from other investors.
no, I'm sure. I'm
Uh,
sure.
yeah. We found that the current investors, we have a great equation. We don't want to complicate the board. We like the value that they add to the business and us to each other. And so we like simplicity.
No, and DSD and Sama are very, very well known and very reputed. So I think I was actually saying it as a compliment that they've
Yeah.
chosen to
No,
invest in.
it's worked well. It's
Yeah, it
worked
is.
well. I think we are pleased with it.
But any on this point on the fundraising, so when you did the initial the VC round, angel round, and then Series A, then Series B, any tips? How does it change, or what the metrics investors look as you move from Series A to Series B? Any tip, any pointers for the entrepreneurs? How investors view
Yeah.
it differently?
Um, if I look at the two, three things that people look at, right? They look at the team, right?
Hmm.
They look at the actual business and they look at the passion and the vision behind it, right? Let's just look at those three metrics for now.
Yeah.
At the angel round where you don't have too much of a business, people will look at you as founders, as the team, and the vision that you have, right? Let's say in the current for a Series B round, for example, when they look at a team, they look at our entire top team and our leadership team and are we ready for scale? They look at the actual business numbers and how has the metrics moved, right? It was earlier only revenue and now it's the full P&L, including your bottom line and how are you making money. And now the vision, right? So I think it depends on the round. Over time, what happens is the business and the actual numbers become more and more important.
Right. So I think your MBA and the McKinsey becomes more and more important as things go.
No, I think having a great team that can actually deliver on the numbers becomes more and more important.
No, no, of course, the team is always the most important. So, how does it happen at Series B level? Do you start hiring a different level of CFOs, CMOs? You get more senior people. Does it go like that, or you more just upgrade the people who have been there from the
It's a
start?
combination.
Does it create a
I
conflict?
think the idea, the reality is that it's a combination. What you do is you're getting people who have expertise in the business, and you also have people who have the ability to grow and scale to the next level of expertise. So we have a bunch of people in the company who are 2 years old, 3 years old now, and they've played multiple roles through their tenure with us as well. And
Hmm.
so, I think what is important is that every few months the business is fundamentally different. And so the roles people need to play, including us as founders, is
Hmm.
fundamentally different, right?
Hmm.
And we have to either adapting and being flexible to that new role that we all need to play, or you have to go and hire for that skill set, right? Again, everyone cannot do everything, right? And as the business grows, then people needs also change.
So, how big is the Moms and Company team now, if I can ask, or a broader
We're about 50 people now.
50 people now? Okay.
Yeah.
So I think you're doing. And if I can again go back to the D2C thing, because that's the buzzword, right? How would you define D2C, and which would you say are pure play D2C in Indian context, really, or the US context? And how does it, and has D2C really worked post COVID or pre or middle of the COVID?
Uh, so D2C, I would describe in India as you have a lot more access to your consumer. And if you think about your traditional FMCG is where you sell to a CNF agent who sells to a distributor who sells to a retailer, and you have no idea who your actual consumer is. And that was the way business was done in FMCG for a while. Our D2C is fundamentally different because, for example, on our website, I have 5 team members who do live chats and talk to 500 customers a day. And these are so the right, so have conversations with 500 customers a day. So your feedback time from your consumer is shortened by months, right? And that's what the power of true D2C is. You're just much, much closer to your consumer. And similarly, you have access to data and information across Nykaa and Amazon and the other platforms you're on as well. So that's why D2C is so interesting and different, right? You're just so much closer to your eventual consumer who's buying your products. What's happened with us post-COVID is we have more than doubled since our pre-COVID numbers. Also because we are a natural toxin-free brand, and I think through the last few months, consumers have understood the importance of being natural first, right? Being toxin-free, taking care of your own self, right? And taking care of your skincare and your baby skin, right? And it's important to do things that are good, not just for you, but also for the environment. And I think that realization has helped propel a few brands like us in the last few months.
And if I can say, it has really helped Biryani by Kilo also in this post-COVID times because of our reputation of being safe, hygienic, fresh. So I get what you're saying. But if I can again go back to D2C because it's important to understand, and I think no one better than you to explain it. So you said sometimes people think D2C brands are brands which are online, right? Not offline, right?
Yeah.
But you are saying D2C is a brand where you are in direct contact with your customer, right? So
Yeah.
although this has an overlap, but I'd like to ask a question. Although these are overlapping statements, but when you're selling to Amazon or a Flipkart or Nykaa, do you get your customer information through them?
Not to that degree. So I don't know my customers' email IDs and so on, but I do know what they are buying, how frequently they are buying, which cities they are from, which regions they are from. I know their demographics, right? I understand my consumer a lot better, um, right? Rather than
Okay.
just purely an offline brand.
So you know the city, the demographics, the age
You
group.
know a lot. Correct, correct. You just know a lot more. Sorry, one second. Yeah.
No. So I think so. Also, if I ask, like, do you think, like, in case of you might not give the actual number, but can you give a range? How much do you sell directly to the consumer through your own like website or app? Or
Depending on month on month, it changes. Roughly, it oscillates between 20 to 50%.
20 to 50%. That's a huge number. So
Yeah.
the rest 50% goes through the Nikas and the Amazons and the first cry of the world, right? So
Correct.
what would you, and of course you've built a great brand, and so let me again still touch on that. So you think an offline brand can also be called a D2C if they directly have all the consumer data and they're directly selling through their own retail stores?
It's a good question. I think the reality is your consumer doesn't care if you're D2C or not, right? It is a fundraising buzzword. And from that fundraising buzzword perspective, offline brands know, right? Because you have data, but you're selling offline, right? So what people
Okay.
would want is also you have access to sales and a transaction platform where you're selling primarily online to your customer.
So a right combination of online and access to your customer would be called D2C. That's my
Correct.
take.
Correct.
And you have done a great brand building with the mom's company. How do you see a brand being built? How do you understand brand? It's not a logo or a tagline or just, or it is the differentiation, let's say in your case, being natural, toxin free, or are there certain ethos or values to a brand which you of
Hmm.
course create, and how do you amplify that? How have you been able to build the brand? Can you take us through the journey and how you see it?
Sure. I think brands are very sharply defined by what you're trying to solve and what you choose not to do. Right? And I think those are the two big pillars, right? I'm in early stages of brand building myself, right? So it's we are in year three of a 100-year journey. So I think it's very early to say it's been successful. I think we are starting. I think what we've been very sure of doing is what is our mission, right? Our mission is to help moms make safe, natural, and effective choices. And as long as we continue to do that and moms see us continue to do that, I think the brand is moving the right direction. what that has forced us to do, for example, is while we have all of the capability of R&D and supply chain and all of our functions are built up, it makes no sense for us to launch a men's grooming range. Right? It is not, we can, even under the mom scope, but it's not helping moms make safe, natural, effective choices. Right? So we don't do it. Great brands, I think, and this is something that Shripad, one of our mentors, consistently tells us. Great brands are far more defined by what they choose not to do than what they do. And so choose what you want to do and then expand, right? Biryani by kilo won't be biryani by kilo if you start selling pastries.
Yeah.
You can, because you have a kitchen and you do all of it, right? But you will do it under a different brand if you do.
What if we didn't sell fresh biryani, right? We'll not be. Those are our basic ethos, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right? So you have a basic ethos. Beyond that, you can of course expand. But your basic ethos, right? You better have damn good biryani. Right? That's
So
what people know you for.
just to place devil's advocate on this, because it's a very interesting discussion. Johnson and
Yeah.
Johnson very big in baby products, right? But how? But Johnson and Johnson, I don't know it that well, but I think it does do more than babies, right? How
They
do
do.
they their sharpness and what is their, let's say, because it's in the similar category, that's why I'm bringing them up.
Yeah.
So
But J&J Baby is a baby care brand. Everything else is a baby brand, right? So Neutrogena is a J&J brand. But it is very clearly a skincare face care brand. Right? That is not a baby care brand. J&J Baby only does baby care.
baby care, okay.
Right? They don't go beyond that.
So you can have sub brands, right? J&J Baby is a sub brand of J&J.
Yeah, sure.
Sublets. But it's what is very important you're saying is what you choose not to do, right? So you've chosen your category as moms, helping moms, one thing. Second, it will always be natural and toxin free. So those are
Yeah,
two basic ethos which defines, but it
correct.
can other than cosmetics or stretch free masks or skincare, it can be what can help moms is maybe certain apparel, right? So can mom
Yeah,
and come?
sure. Why not?
So can
Why
you
not?
be in some certain kind of moms wear also tomorrow? A mom company?
Yeah, I think we can. We get a lot of requests for it, from moms to be. So yes, why not? And I think
So
that is, you can create natural, high quality, high performance apparel as well, with all for moms. So yeah,
it's
sure.
also it will fall under the purview of your ethos.
Yeah.
Okay, having defined the values, what a brand stands for, how do you really amplify it? In the older times when I think you were also McKinsey, it was more ATL, karna hai, BTL, karna hai, brand celebrity endorser lana hai. So have you used a celebrity endorser, or it's more a combination of influencers, or you do activities around moms? How do you get that message across? How do you amplify that?
Um, it's a good question. I think what we've chosen to do is to go after moms where they exist. And so we also, for example, launched stores. We had 10 stores inside hospitals in the waiting rooms, maternity hospitals, where we used to have one-on-one discussions with moms and help them choose products for the current stage of pregnancy that they were at. Right? So we've very simply gone and said, where is my mom today? Where is she making decisions on her product? It goes all the way from an offline when she's waiting in the lounge in the hospital, all the way to on YouTube, for example, she is searching for stretch marks as a solution. And so really it is, now we've evolved from ATL, BTL to say, where is the consumer asking the question and searching for your solution? And are you present there in a meaningful way?
No, that's very interesting. So you're saying instead of ATL, BTL, where you are bombarding either from the very over the top or under, you are saying be where your customer is, know your customers, and provide interactions, solutions, and engagement there.
Yeah, yeah, completely. You have to be where your customer is, and your customer today is everywhere and deciding everywhere.
So if they are on YouTube, they are looking and wherever intent is. And you think on the YouTube, if the mom is looking for not stretch marks, but something else, but they are present. So that is your opportunity to engage with them.
Yeah,
Those forums.
completely. Completely, yes.
What about celebrity or influencers endorsement or activities does it help? Have you
We've been
thought of
thinking about it for a while. We have thought about it. We've never found a celebrity who has the Momsco ethos.
okay.
Who is an advocate for natural, toxin-free, better for the environment, right? We haven't found that. I think we are hunting for that celebrity. If we get that person, it's again a question of, does the person live the brand daily? I don't think we are looking for a celebrity for the idea of having a face, but if someone comes in and actually fits the brand and helps the brand grow dramatically, then why not?
So ऐसा नहीं है, if Kareena Kapoor is going to be a mom and she's ready to be a brand ambassador for certain money, you'll just not sign her. She has to breathe those similar values.
Yeah, because I think like I said, we're in year 3 of a 100-year brand,
Hmm.
right? So in the shorter term, any celebrity, and I don't know so much about a particular one, any celebrity who lives the brand can help. Any celebrity who doesn't live the brand can also detract from what the brand stands for. Right? So you won't redefine what the brand is based on just based on one celebrity. So I think that's why the fit is so important.
Also, do you use like actual day-to-day moms who are using your products for in
Yes.
your Insta and other things to give her faces to you do that
Yeah.
interactions really? So, any other broader tips for entrepreneurs when they're building a brand, a B2C brand? Although we have discussed it, but any other pointers how to stay? Although I think you've said it, be focused on your values and what you don't want to do. Then
Yeah.
but any other pointers there on marketing?
I think those two are a great combination. If you can, as a brand, be very sharp and clear of what you want to do, and you can be present where your consumer is and tell your story, you're in a good place.
Okay, great. And would you like to say that, of course, every entrepreneur faces a lot of different challenges. Yours might be different. So, on a very personal level, have there been some challenges? Not even yours. You would have seen from your friends. Any pointers on a broader level, or even at a micro level, you like to say, like, of course, it can be a bit of pep talk, but I think if it
Yeah.
can be, yeah, like anything
Yeah.
more.
Consistently, the most important feedback I will get from founders and the largest discussions we'll have is on investing in people,
Hmm.
right? As a founder, you have to be okay with the fact that you're not superhuman. You do
Hmm.
not know everything. You're not an expert on every topic. And so you
Hmm.
have to be able to go out and invest in the right people and help them grow within the business. Like, to me, that is the most critical thing that you can change, and that as a founder you need to focus on. It's surprising to me that over time, uh, people become the most important topic for all founders. Right?
But you've seen other founders, not sometimes people are too control freak. Founders tend to be control freaks. You've
Yeah.
seen founders not losing that, not wanting to lose that control. So you can choose to invest in people, but if you're not willing to lose control, you think
Yeah.
so? Are there areas where founders should give control? Are there areas where they should keep control?
It depends on every business.
It depends on
Right?
it.
I think it's really dependent on every business and every function at different points of time. Right? I think the reflection to do and the answer to the question to ask yourself is, where is it today that I am destroying more value than I'm creating?
Hmm.
Right? And it could just be because, for example, you don't have the mind space and the time to look at a particular function. Right? Maybe you can do it, maybe you just can't. Right? I've known phenomenal founders who at very, very large companies and large CEOs, the company is where it is today because the founder is a control freak.
Control freak. Okay. I think it's a very
It happens, right? So I think the question is for you as a founder and you as an individual, what works?
of
And just
course.
having a true answer to that makes a big difference.
And in this category, which is I think a very big category, the moms, moms and babies, which I think in India would be a $7-8 billion kind of category. Of course, I think, you'll know better. The Johnson and Johnsons of the world is still leading it.
Yeah.
With any brands worldwide, in this category or some other categories, which you look as up as a founder, okay, these people have done a great job creating a category brand. Of course, we are not talking of the Googles and of the world or Apples. Everyone knows them. But if
Yeah.
you, in India especially, that you have respect for that, how they've created a brand, and some learnings from there.
That's very interesting. I think the great brands to me are ones that have gone out and actually solved a customer need and customers have reflected back, right? It's interesting. I genuinely think Biryani by Kilo is a great brand.
Thank
You
you.
guys came solved Biryani as a concept when I don't even know any other player who did solve it at that time. And I think over time you've launched a bunch of copycats, which means clearly you did great things. So yeah. I mean, genuinely, I think it's an inspiration on how you've gone out and branded and unbranded category. I've been told by my team today, for example, to tell you for all parties, Biryani by Kilo is the default option, right? Yeah, so I do think it's a job very well done.
I think, no, thank you so much. Now, and it's thanks to our team and my co-founder, Kaushik Roy. We are in 40 outlets now in 20 cities and very close to 100 crore top mark. And
Wow.
in a category, any category, which we be bigger than pizza in India, and there is no incumbent leader. So we can be the leaders, and we should be now given our DNA to be leader in India and worldwide. But I think thanks for saying that. But also, now it will be a last thing before we go. And so, as a person, as an entrepreneur, I'm sure it gets lonely, it gets tough. Are there any personal hobbies, things, friendships? What really helps you as an entrepreneur? And what I really like when you said, you are in the third year of a 100-year journey. So that kind of, so it's still a very long 10, 20, 30 years from here. So, on a personal level, if you can talk, what keeps you grounded, what keeps you motivated, certain hobbies, certain maybe spirituality, certain values, what would you say?
I I find a 1 hour workout in the morning is a savior for me.
Okay.
Right? The days when I get that in, I find I have more energy, I have more clarity of thought, I get some alone time, which really helps me structure things that I am struggling with at any point of time. The days I don't do that, I feel quite muddled, right? So for me, the physical exercise is become very, very important. And this has
Okay.
grown over time. I've tried meditation on off. I don't think I'm very good at it or very consistent at it. But the days I do meditate, it works quite well as well. Yeah.
Any things which keeps you going? Like, is it travel or what do you like? Is it movies? It is reading? It is some friendships? Or are you a workaholic
I'm a workaholic who likes to read,
who likes to
right?
read?
So I will start my day and end my day at work, and then in between, when I get the time, I'm constantly reading, right, on my mobile or reading 2, 3 books at a point of time.
So is it fiction, more non-fiction, any
Both,
other, anything,
both
anything,
any good
any,
stories.
anything interesting which you've read recently you like to say? Anything?
Ah, interesting. I've just picked up Jay Shetty's new book. I've just
Okay,
started that.
okay.
Think Like a Monk. I think it started off very interesting. So let's see how that goes. I've also read complete fiction like Jeffrey Archer, which is my favorites, which I can't put down the book till I finish them.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
it's a wide variety.
And any other, of course, you want to make, I'm sure you want to make the mom's company $1 billion or $10 billion. And I know you guys are venturing out of India. What is the big vision for the mom's company you have? Like, if you can.
I think the vision is very big and also at the same time very small, right? When a woman gets pregnant, the mom's school should be the first thought on her mind.
So that
Right?
is a bit.
It's at a consumer level, it's a very small vision. What that will mean is over the next many, 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 many years, we're able to build that sort of brand awareness and resonance with mothers.
And you would like in another 5, 10, 20 years to be in a lot of different countries, Mom and Company to be a Indian brand known everywhere in the world,
Of
which
course, it will be.
which we can all be very proud of.
Yeah, so let me end on that note. I think coming from London to India and starting a brand because we couldn't get high quality products here, it will be an extreme moment of pride and joy when we can take Indian products to the world.
And especially London. So that will be a good thing. So I think, on that note, we wish you and the Mom Company great success, hoping to see this everywhere in the world, from Japan to US to UK, and
Thank you.
make all very proud as Indians and fellow entrepreneurs. And thank you so, so much, Mohit, for coming.
Thank you. Such a pleasure, Vishal.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye bye.